Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at the gold chart. This was an analysis request from one of the followers and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. Now on this chart we have a seemingly simple structure, and from the all-time low we are tracking this initial movement to the upside as a wave 1 up, and then we have our wave 2 correction, and then from this wave 2 low in 99 we are looking at another 1-2 setup, and from this point on, I am tracking at the moment a third wave to the upside. Now, if this really is to play out, I would expect an impulse to unfold in this area. And this isn't the only interpretation that could work out. This is one of the more bullish scenarios. And here in the short time frame, we may be able to track something even more bullish, although, probably not necessarily my favored interpretation. Now, if we are to look from this time frame, we can even go into the weekly here. We are looking for a very strong and significant movement to the upside, and we are looking here at another 1-2 setup and then another 1-2 setup here. From this point on, this is an internal wave 3 that we are tracking separately. Of course, this would be expected to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would be a larger wave 3 in the end. But this is what we are tracking separately. This is a smaller time frame area that we need to focus on independently, because until we actually build this internal large wave 3, there isn't much for us to focus on from this larger time frame perspective. Now, before we go here into the small time frame, we can actually even look for an ideal target if this really is a third wave unfolding to the upside. And here I would be looking at the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, which is around the 17.6k level. It doesn't seem anything out of proportions. It could easily get to those levels even within a milder interpretation of this structure, not even within a wave 3 actually. Even if we were to be tracking this as some sort of a large diagonal pattern, it could very easily get to those levels based on the internal structure that has been forming in this area. Now, with that said, here in this actual wave 3 that we are tracking on the smaller time frame, I am looking here for another 1-2 setup that has formed in this area, a 1-2, and then another 1-2 setup here. Then in this third wave to the upside, I am looking for a top that could form relatively soon, where technically I don't actually need, I believe, any more than one single high. If we are to track this area, I really need to form only one additional high to form the larger third wave to the upside, and then we would start looking for 4-5 patterns to build the rest of the wave 3 to the upside. Now, those 4-5 patterns are still within a larger wave 3, and we should expect them to be significantly strong, not necessarily as the end of a larger trend, but as part of a larger wave 3 itself. We can even add here back the larger structure that we are tracking, and here, once we build this wave 3, we are looking for another 4-5 pattern, and then we have the larger wave 3 complete, and then another 4-5 pattern, and so on until we build the overall structure. In the end, we still have a lot of room to actually continue this uptrend on this chart. Now, if we are, however, to fail holding these areas of support that would allow us to track continuation to the upside, we will need to track different interpretations that wouldn't necessarily be as bullish. But right now, we are doing quite fine, and I believe we have likely even formed a low in this area. Not necessarily. This wave 4 could still extend, but in the end, we don't need to. Now, in this interpretation, I am actually tracking this latest development. So from the May 2025 low, I am looking here for a fifth wave to the upside. This interpretation isn't the only one available to us, and there is a more bullish scenario where I can consider this movement itself a wave 3. After all, it does have the size that it would need to build such a pattern, but it isn't necessarily the prettiest wave 3 to the upside. In the end, I'm not even so confident that this structure could be tracked so easily as an impulse. It could in the end, this wave 3 could work out as a 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th, or something like that, but it's not necessarily the prettiest impulse that formed in this area, and in the end we can, but it's just not the top priority for me. It's just not the top interpretation for me. Now, with this idea, I am looking here at a third wave up complete anyway, and I'm looking here at a fourth wave down. Now in this fifth wave to the upside, I could easily be looking for an impulse to be formed itself, and in that case, we could look for a larger area of support for the wave 4, because technically we have only pushed here actually quite perfectly into the 50%, not the 50, the 38.2% retracement within this wave 4 retracement, yeah, which is, once again, as I always tell you, the ideal target for a wave 4 correction. We have 3 waves down, so we don't need any additional structure as part of this wave 4 to consider a completion. We don't need any extensions within this correction to consider that this pattern is done. And not only that, we may even already be able to consider this an initial 5-wave move to the upside, where I would be tracking an initial leading diagonal. So we can actually go ahead and look for a potential 1-2 setup in this area, and then a third, fourth, and a fifth to be tracking the larger pattern. And I do want to mention, I don't necessarily have a confirmation that this wave 1 has topped, but neither here do I need any additional highs to consider a top within this area, yeah? We have sufficient waves to be tracking an overall leading diagonal within this wave 1, but if I were to be picky, I could consider that I could actually still see in this wave C another high to be formed, but honestly, we have enough waves to consider it complete. A 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th is sufficient within this wave C, and we don't need any additional highs. So if I were to be looking here for a retracement here for the wave 2 correction, I would be looking at the levels between the 38.2% retracement all the way down to the 78.6% retracement. So we are looking at the levels between the 4.1k all the way down to the 3.96k level, yeah, where as long as we hold here above this 78.6% retracement, we can still look for continuation into a third wave to the upside, where again we expect an even stronger movement than what has happened here initially within this wave 1. But I do want to mention the caveat that this larger wave 5 that is forming in this area could be considered an ending diagonal, in which case an ABC structure would be sufficient to complete the larger wave, and in that case we wouldn't need too much of an extension within this next move to the upside. However, that is still a likely move to happen for me, yeah? As long as we hold here, especially the 78.6% retracement, I am still looking with high likelihood to form here at least another wave to the upside, and if the proportions are sufficient, we will look for, after this wave is complete, for the correction in a wave 4, and if we hold here the area of support internally, we can find even another high. Now, with that said, I did not rule out, and I will not rule out, the possibility of a reset within this wave 4, and in that case we can look for some resistance levels in this area, and I would be watching out at the levels between the, actually let's use a different color for this interpretation, but I would be watching out at the levels between the 4.07k all the way up to the 4.27k level at the 78.6% retracement for resistance for a possible extension in an ABC structure instead. And if we are to build such a pattern, well, we would need to be prepared even for a lower low in this area of support, which again is not a problem because we still have a lot of room within the larger wave 4 retracement area. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.